Hey everyone, welcome back to US Journey. So today we are going to talk about the COVID-19 restriction in the Philippines. So this is an update from the United States Embassy Manila, Philippines. So from July 1 to 31, 2021, this is the quarantine update. So as we all know that the Philippines continues to battle against COVID-19 pandemic, and the national government just published a set of guidelines for areas under modified enhanced community quarantine or MECQ, as well as general community quarantine or GCQ, and then GCQ with heightened restrictions and GCQ with some restrictions. So today we are going to talk about what's allowed in the following restrictions. I know a lot of you guys are going to your interview at the Manila US Embassy, or some like OFWs, or some of your fiancés or spouses or family from the United States want to visit here in the Philippines, but they don't know what's going on right now in the Philippines. So in this video, I hope you will have an idea on what's going on in the Philippines right now regarding COVID-19 and what's allowed and not allowed in the Philippines. Okay, so we will start here as per recent Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Disease IATF resolution. Below are the current quarantine classifications according to the Philippine government. So these are the list of provinces that are under MECQ quarantine, which will last until July 15, 2021. So for MECQ, individuals are allowed to do an outdoor exercises such as outdoor walks, jogging, running, or biking, but are only allowed within their area of residence. So also under MECQ, these areas, the lottery is allowed but temporarily, and also outdoor dining or al fresco is allowed in MECQ but only for 50% capacity. Next, for the general community quarantine with some restrictions which will last until July 15, 2021. So Metro Manila, Rizal, and Bulacan were recommended to be under GCQ with some restrictions. So what's allowed? Only non-contact sports are allowed. Lottery and horse racing with off-track betting stations are temporarily allowed. Gyms and fitness centers are permitted to operate at 40%, while indoor sport courts may open at 50% capacity. For indoor tourist attractions, they are allowed for 40%, and for meetings, conferences, and exhibition must also be at 40% capacity. And then for personal care services, 50% capacity is allowed for services not requiring mask removal. If the establishment has a safety seal, they may operate an additional 10% capacity. So for outdoor tourist attractions are allowed at 50% capacity, but with some strict compliance to minimum public health protocols. Staycation hotels are allowed to operate for up to 100% venue capacity, while other DOT accredited establishments may operate at 30% capacity. There are also no age restrictions for this establishment as long as public health standards are followed. Indoor dining is allowed for 40% capacity, while outdoor dining is allowed for 50%. Next, for general community quarantine with heightened restrictions, which will last until July 15, so Laguna and Cavite were recommended to be placed under GCQ with heightened restrictions. So the government allowed personal care services to operate at 30% as long as they are not requiring mask removal. If the establishment has a safety seal, they may operate an additional 10%. Outdoor tourist attractions are allowed in GCQ with heightened restrictions but only for 30% capacity. Likewise, staycation hotels are allowed to operate for up to 100% venue capacity, while other DOT accredited establishment may operate at 30% capacity. There are no age restrictions for staycations. Indoor dining is allowed for 20%, while outdoor dining is allowed for 50%. Indoor dining may increase by 10% capacity if the establishment has safety seal. Also, lottery and horse racing with off-track betting stations are allowed temporarily. No contact sports are also allowed in GCQ. So next, general community GCQ through July 15. So this is only Apayao, and the rest will have a GCQ until July 31st, 2021. So what's allowed in GCQ? So in these areas, auto sports but non-contact sports are allowed. Lottery and horse racing with off-track betting stations are temporarily allowed. Indoor sports, venues, and tourist attractions are allowed but only for 50%. Venues for meetings, conferences, exhibitions are allowed for 50%. Personal care services such as salons, parlors, and beauty clinics can operate for 50%. Outdoor tourist attractions are allowed for 50% capacity. Staycations in DOT accredited accommodations are also allowed. Indoor dining can operate at 50%, while outdoor dining can fully operate. So that's it, guys, for the following restrictions that are set currently in the Philippines.